grace. I know your face and I trust your hand. Medicine woman, medicine man, walking with grace. I know your face and I trust your hands. Find your teachers in the voice of the forest. Unplug, you can't ignore this. Wisdom of the voiceless. Remedies are bountiful and surround us from the garden to the farthest. Prayer made of stardust. Find your healing in the music that calls you, the voice that enthralls you. What do you belong to? Eyes out, there's the setting of the sun. Give thanks to each and every one. The lesson is the medicine woman, medicine man, walking with grace. I know your face and I trust your hands. Medicine woman, medicine man, walking with grace. I know your face and I trust your hands. I believe in bending backwards and extending my trap strip back into the messages and action. The art is feeding, stop start the disbelieving, cause the garden holds the shards, the medicine is in the seeds. When we hold tight to our right to protect them, we know our might is tenfold in connection. Our elders hold them bright lights, we protect them. The medicine is evident, the wolf, the hawk, the bear clan. We hold tight to our right to protect them. We know our might is tenfold in connection. Our elders hold them bright lights, we protect them. The medicine is evidence, the wolf, the hawk, the medicine woman, medicine man, walking with grace. I know your face and I trust your hands. Medicine woman, medicine man, walking with grace. I know your face and I trust your hands.
Thank you for those of you who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. We'd like for you all to hold that because we're going to use that later on in the session today. And I really want you to think about your place in your community, wherever your community is. For an example, I'm the great-great-granddaughter of a medicine man from the Catawba tribe in South Carolina, right? So the medicine that he took to the community, the healing that he took to the community, we still have the opportunity to do that in our own ways today. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to transition over to Ms. Lisa, who is our moderator for the session.
Hi, thank you for coming to this session. My name is Lisa Brown. I'm a second-year community artist from Micah, from Baltimore City. And this panel, I wanted to introduce you to, I'll just wait for her to take a seat. Thank you. Dr. Wilson with Brown Girl Wellness. And we have here Farmer Nail, or we also call it Dr. Nail, with City Weeds. And we have someone coming in that will be coming in later on and also presenting their work. That'll be Dr. Preston. So we wanted to focus this session on low-income communities, the unique environment changes they face, the power of music for change. I think that's something that right now it's very pristine because it's almost a social network that music goes around the world, and people bring this to some attention to what needs to be said through other means of form of culture and arts. So I wanted to turn this over and start talking about a few aspects of things, exploring environmental issues. If you would like to go first.
Oh, certainly.
Thank you.
So the first thing we like to do is looking at your community. What are community members facing? Okay. So are you facing air pollution? Is your community clean? Can folks eat off the street? If they can't eat off the street in your community, that's a what? That's a problem. problem, right? You ought to be able to walk in a clean community and have clean streets, right? For me, I have kids, so if I see a playground with glass and other things on it, is that okay? That's not okay. So these are issues that we are looking at and talking about. How do we become advocates and use music, right? The music in order to prompt people to take a stand for what is right. And we're looking at communities who feel like they are voiceless and they do not have a voice. Dr. Nell does a tremendous amount of work in the Baltimore City community and abroad, so I'm going to pass it on to him so he can piggyback on that, as he's not only an advocate for food justice, he is also an environmental advocate as well to ensure there's justice in communities. Dr. Nell.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when we think about like our environment, the general thought is like the grass, the trees, the air, the water, the food sources that we have, and maybe secondary or not at all is a thought, what we hear. So when we think about our environment, like what are we intaking? What are we inhaling and exhaling? Figuratively and metaphorically, actually and factually. So when we talk about terms of like just music, you have vibrations there. There are studies beyond my knowledge that shows how vibrations can influence things. Vibrations can be healing. So when we're talking about, bass, drum tones, and sound healing and things of that nature, that's within the track of a song. Let's just talk about the average song we might hear on the radio, whether we want to hear it or not. We go in the car, turn it on, boom. It's this radiation of frequencies. Now, okay, that's just that part. That's a whole dissection of that, if we may. The lyrics, the words, the tone. So when we speak of podcast, broadcast, what are we casting? So if we're spelling words that we actually speak, spell casting, maybe, and all, how we, so spells are being casted, and then we're repeating this. Our children are repeating this. We're hearing this. This is becoming our environment. This is becoming our reality. No matter where I work or what I do, when I put that juxtaposition, music and vibration on in the vehicle, I'm in that world now. So now, whether it soothes or triggers my inner traumas, it's influencing me. Movies, you watch movies and that sad part, and then there's something that induces you to cry, minus the actual scene. Here comes the music, here's that music, that and that tone, and so these things, there's science and education all within that. So when we speak of our environment, like what are our environmental sounds, smells, sights, what do we intake? And then I like to say I'm a product of my environment, and I'm from West Baltimore. So that's what encompasses me. You get it? My environment. That's me. So that becomes the self. My environment, like could be an acronym for me. That's the acronym for you in that design. So when we think about that, I would like to challenge our thought processes to see how that lands, what comes up for you with that. And so when we speak of, healing and environmental change and environmental trauma and things of that nature, and we involve the aspects of just sound and how that affects the growth of plants. So me being a farmer, I play music to my microgreens. It helps them come very robust in 7 days. Not on purpose. When I haven't been playing the music as frequently, there was a difference in their production. Not as significant enough where I would not be able to sell the product, but it might take another day for it to reach a stage where when I was playing the music, 7 days they were standing tall, where when I didn't play the music, maybe it might take 8, 9 days, something of that nature. So that's my identification with it, other than just saying a whole bunch of words to and kind of compiling them together. That's my experience with it as far as in actual life, and just focusing on a plan. And so I'll pause there or stop there to segue or
Thank you.
open up the floor.
So I just want to remind some folks that Baltimore is the last of our chocolate cities of being inner city. It is 62% black, and almost 20% of their non-black population is the highest number after New York of unorthodox Jews. So there's quite a bit of people who are, this is their first time either being in America and also being seen as an other. And I wanted to draft that part because I think that if many people have history of Baltimore, that Baltimore is also called the litmus test. The first thing that's ever happened in America, it always starts with Baltimore. Redlining starts in Baltimore. Discrimination starts in Baltimore. The first black person that started in the Civil War died in Baltimore. The first place where they wanted to place toxins inside of water actually started in Baltimore, and that's by EPA records itself. So just in history, there's quite a bit of tours in Baltimore City. There's quite a few people who give toxic tours about the water, the levees, the systems that are actually still in play in Baltimore. And that's what we're moving to with this segment right now, because I think it's very important that people in these positions speak about how Baltimore is the last city that's on the East Coast with that high population of black and brown people and people who do not speak English at all. And their children are just now starting to learn it. So this is very important that if something is not directly placed inside of their face, they're not aware of these toxins being. It's also a very industrial system. Because they brought in chattel slaves and other people in other countries to come do servitude and not be paid for their work, which means most of your basic food production, beans, rice, cereal, all have factories, glue, tires, all have factories, and those factories still exist with the toxins still on the walls. So I wanted to move that conversation before I bring that back to you again, is to talk about the water pollutions and the air pollutions within Baltimore City of such a high rate of people who are non-European descendant or from European as in consider themselves white Americans. What is your take about how they're being alerted or told, or have they ever been told that they're living within a place that is high?
Okay. Yeah.
Certainly, please.
So, Baltimore City being the litmus test, that's interesting because it is in fact the trial run city of systematic oppressions that have been mastered in other cities. When we speak of redlining, it gets mastered in Chicago, but from the test tube of Baltimore. So let me start with an incident that happened earlier this year. The ship that crashed into the bridge. So those that aren't familiar, is anybody not familiar with what happened earlier in Baltimore with the waterways? Well, there was a ship that crashed into the bridge, and not only did that redirect commerce hugely, because the port of Baltimore is the port of America. Everything comes into the Chesapeake Bay, into Baltimore, and then goes to the rest of the country across the Mississippi. There's no other port that's larger than Baltimore intake and outtake in the United States. Not New York, not Miami, not Portland. So that affected, that was an environmental change. But then you want to talk about the hazmats that went into the water, which is interestingly enough because maybe 90 days to 100 days later, the mayor in the city took a plunge in the harbor. And so to make you understand what the harbor is not a part of the Chesapeake Bay, it's the bottom part of the Patapsco River. And it leaks into the Chesapeake Bay. So that bridge is where like the river dumps into the bay. So strategically, I would say not only did that reroute commerce and industry and shipping, but it also provided our waterways with a huge amount of additional hazmats. So with that being said, it affects fish and crabbing. So all those that look to Baltimore as a seafood beacon and want the crabs, want the rockfish, and everything of the likeness, that's been affected. And so when you talk about water and sea level in a climatic area, city like Baltimore, we have high humidity because of the proximity to the water. So what that provides is a poor air quality because we still have an incinerator that burns the trash of the city. So there's like this huge cigarette that when you're entering Baltimore City from the south that says Baltimore on it, and it's just puffing out cigarette smoke. Most of the city in West Baltimore where I live, we're on a hill, so we're at eye level with the smoke because it's at sea level coming up. So, and then you have low literacy, you have food deserts, what I call food apartheid. It's coupled with the redlining, and we can explain that that's not understood. So when you add all these factors in, the lead in the water that comes from the lead in the pipes, or the lead in the paint, or in urban farming, if I'm growing it, why do I use raised beds? Because there was a building there that had 90% lead in the materials that they built it in. Those that aren't familiar with lead is a poisonous element to intake. So even in the grass, the element does not go anywhere. It's a mineral, so it's going to be in the soil. So if we're growing kale, that lead, that's going to be very robustly looking lead-filled kale. And so we don't want to do that. So City Weeds has strategic designs to address the environment in Baltimore and regarding the vacant lots and also abandoned homes. We have probably more blocks of abandoned homes almost to match as many people that actually need housing. So I'm saying blocks to people. I'm not saying houses to I'm saying like we have almost as many vacant blocks and lots that could be built on and identified for those people that are without housing. So all of these cause environmental issues. I had a store for 4 years that was next to 2 vacant buildings. So it was called Be More Green, Be More Cleaner, Be More Green. How am I really being that clean when I have an abandoned building next to me? So as clean as I sweep my front and mop my floors and do all of that stuff, I still have to be concerned about the air quality, the youth that we're serving, the food that we're giving out every week to the community and all these elements around it. So for me, personally, right now, 2025, moving into that, these environmental issues within the inner city is it's very paramount for us to be able to look at them. And for me, being up close with all of them, I may only know the immediate solution is picking up the trash. So someone from the outside looking in or maybe studying around it can come up with some ideas. So I'm more here less to kind of report the information that I'm seeing and to come back